UFC 321 is this weekend, my boys, and today I'm giving y'all my full card predictions and breakdown for it. And we're back in Abu Dhabi once again, and it's not usually as stacked as the Abu Dhabi pay-per-views are, but that's okay, man. I'm cool with balance in the universe. This is still a good card. It's still a solid pay-per-view, but it is the coming out party for Tom Aspinall. We finally have an active, undisputed champion, and I wish that he got more attention for this pay-per-view, but it's still a good card. It's a solid card, and I'm glad that Aspinall's back. I've been chomping at the bit to see him back in the cage. I'm very excited to see it. So again, today I'm giving y'all my full card predictions and breakdown. Let's get into it, man, all right? Starting off with the first one we got here. It's the Kyrgyzstani Movsar Evloev, the brother of the brother of the brother here, okay? It's Azat Maksom, one of the more under-the-radar prospects, I guess you could still call him, at flyweight, taking on Mitch Raposo. I'm definitely going to be going with Maksom, man. He's a huge favorite for a reason. Mitch Raposo, I believe he's 0-2, 0-3 in the UFC, and some close decisions here and there, but they're all just decisions. And yes, his grappling is kind of the bread and butter, but I feel like he's just very one-dimensional, and he's proven that I just feel like he's not that UFC caliber level to the where Azat Maksom is, okay? And I'm not just saying that because of the region, because he has that Kyrgyzstani aura to him, okay? This Volkov motherfucker. But Maksom is good, man. I like the submission game out of him. I feel like he's just the better striker and the better grappler than a guy like Raposo, who was barely hanging on to a UFC contract. He must have dirt on Uncle Dana or something. But what these guys both share is that they were undefeated before they really got in the UFC, and now all of their losses have come since then. But Maksom is just losing to better competition, and he's at least making it competitive. He's got takedowns of his own in these guys against Charles Johnson and Tagir Ulanbekov, and they're good flyweights. Those are the guys who are truly worthy of hanging around like that 8 to 15 range in the rankings. So for Maksom to have moments, there's no shame in that. And I just rate most of the aspects in this fight against Raposo. I'm going to give him the advantage, okay? Plus, he has the reach and height advantage as well. I feel like he's just going to be more in his prime, hungrier. There's just more to invest in here. I rate the striking, I rate the wrestling, and I rate everything just a bit more here. Whereas Raposo might have some moments here and might be able to survive, but ultimately, I think Maksom is going to control where the fight goes and what happens. You know what I mean? So I'm going to say Maksom 29-28 here, all right? Moving on up next to Abdelwahab, all right? It sounded like I just sneezed. Versus Chris Barnett. My prediction here, man, is going to be Abdelwahab, okay? And I'm so tempted to go with the big underdog money for the big boy, and Chris Barnett. I fuck with Chris Barnett, but dude, wish he was more active, man. Wish he was able to get a couple more wins, because I believe he's kind of he's just this win one, lose one fighter in the UFC, but people forget, man. He's able to mix it up with these spinning attacks, and he's able to blob it up inside the cage. But Abdelwahab is one of these fighters where I don't want to go with him. It's unfortunate. I picked against him in his last outing. I picked Muhammad Usman to beat him. Usman ended up beating him. He was an underdog in that one. So this one, though, Abdelwahab, he's a favorite once again, and he's a bigger favorite. And I rate Muhammad Usman probably above a Chris Barnett here, okay? But fuck Muhammad Usman after pulling out against Valter Walker. But regardless here, I think that Abdelwahab, I'm fucking up his last name as much as steroids have ruined this guy's career, okay? Because we got to talk about it a little bit. He's kind of been so inactive. I know Barnett is inactive, but I'm not sure the reason for that. But Abdelwahab has just been so inactive, and he had to take a few years off because he popped, man. And he has such a short green record, even though he's not the youngest fighter in the world. He's only 6-1, okay? And even nowadays, even now that he really is kind of, off the sauce, allegedly, like, there's just nothing in his game that really stands out here. But I just think that Chris Barnett he can be dragged out to decisions. He can be knocked out in his own right. If the other guy is just more powerful, if he just applies enough pressure, or he's just kind of crafty enough, maybe even boring enough to just drag you out to a decision. I mean, Chris Barnett has a lot of experience in MMA in general, but with that comes a lot of losses. Like, he is beatable, man. Like, I would love to see a crazy Barnett spinning KO, someone like that, or just a win in general for Barnett. But I feel like if Barnett wins, it's going to be a KO. And Abdelwahab, I just don't think he has the same kind of KO power or finishing ability. Like, I feel some kind of like blobby heavyweight decision here if he wins. And unfortunately, I do think he's going to win. So I smell a 29-28 for Abdelwahab. And I don't even know, man. Like, I don't rate anything too crazy in the grappling or the striking for him, okay? But if we're just comparing these guys who are kind of outside the heavyweight rankings, this is what I got to say about it, I guess, man. So I'm going with Abdelwahab via blobbing it up for 15 minutes. I'm going to say a 29-28. But I'm hoping for a Barnett KO, man. I'm praying for it, all right? Moving on up next to Nathaniel Wood taking on Jose Delgado, bro, okay? And I love this fight. I love this one. This has kind of that people forget, man, kind of hidden prelim banger written all over it. Nice back and forth, high-paced war of a decision. Dana White's going to give it a shout-out at the post-fight pressure kind of vibe, okay? I think that's how this fight's going to end, but I do think it's going to end maybe in that early finish for Delgado. He's a slight favorite here. It's going to be my prediction to win this one. And the reason I like this fight is because genuinely, both these guys are good. Both these guys are well-rounded. They know how to hang in a dogfight. I feel like the thing is, Delgado, here's the fucking thing, you guys. He's just so much more of a finisher, okay? Yes, they're both well-rounded in regards to Wood can hold his own in getting the takedowns and hold his own in the scrambles, and he has good takedown defense. But the thing about Delgado, he's just more of a marauder. He's younger. He's more aggressive. He has the height and reach advantage. He knows how to just hunt you down and just aim for these submissions or these knockouts. And the thing is, he has the power advantage. He clearly is going to be the one, if anybody, in this matchup that's going to be able to just crack, knock you down, get you out of there in round 1, 2, or 3. Okay, it's not like a Dr. Seuss book. Okay, 1, 2, 3. But you know what I'm saying? Nathaniel Wood, he is good. He's very efficient with everything he does. And he does have power in his own right, okay? When I say Delgado has the clear power advantage, I'm not just trying to forget about Wood. Like, Wood has had a knockdown in every single one of his past few wins, okay? So the power is showing, but it's just, he just can't really seem to follow up all the way through with it. But the striking is still good. The power is still good. And he's beat some notable names in the division, man. He's beat Charles Jourdain. He's beat Andre Philly. He's beat Morgan Charrier. So for him being, you know, kind of a relatively active fighter, and the fact that he's in the middle of his prime, he's young, whereas Delgado is kind of, you know, a year or two from his prime, technically. You know, we see so many young fighters like a Joshua Van, JDM, all these guys, age don't matter to them, pause. But regardless, I think that might favor Wood to just kind of be more experienced in the UFC. And, you know, he has tasted a bit more losses than a guy like Delgado, but that experience might come to help him here, okay? It's not like he's exactly getting finished either. But in general, I am going to trust Delgado here, man, okay? I trust the height and reach advantage. I trust the higher output on the feet. He's more efficient with his finishing ability. And I think that, yes, both these guys are powerful. They're well-rounded. They're young. But I'm going to go with Delgado. I think he just edges him out in pretty much most regards. I think Delgado just has that slight edge enough to just get that win, okay? Just get that early finish here, all right? Wood's good. Wood is durable. He is hard to finish in his own right here, so I could see maybe Delgado dragging out to a decision. But regardless, even though Wood has an excellent chin, even though Wood might be able to survive, I think that I'm going to see Delgado, I'll say round 2 KO. Wait, hold on here. Wood's so durable, man. I'll say round 2 KO or a 29-28 decision, okay? I don't think Wood's just going to go down like that, okay? Wood's a dog, so I think it's smell a 29-28 or a round 2 KO for Delgado here, okay? Moving on up next to Valter Walker, taking on Louis Sutherland here. I'm going to be going with Valter Walker. I think he got fucked over in his last, I would say performance, but almost performance going against, who was it? It was Muhammad Usman, man, for pulling out of that one. So Walker, I think, was going to go into that one, obviously riding a lot of momentum, the only like 3-hook streak in UFC history. So the guy, in Joe Rogan's terms, he's a submission artist. He really is. He's breaking all sorts of records here with that. And I feel like even though that's been the thing that's kind of shining in his career lately, I think that Walker is still solid, man. He's going to be my prediction to win this one. Sutherland, he's making his UFC debut. He was supposed to fight like Justin Tafa. And his only real losses in MMA are when he steps up to that Bellator or PFL level, let alone UFC. And Walker is a legitimate prospect. Like I said, solid submission game. His striking, it's interesting because I feel like we need to see a little bit more out of it to be more confident or like trusting in it, because I feel like the grappling is what carries him through. He's big and strong for the weight class, but he did get pieced up and lost to a decision very recently-ish by Lucas Bresky, the literal jobber of all jobbers for heavyweight, okay? So I like Valter Walker. He's a funny guy, brother, okay? This guy, when he's appearing on the podcast and shit, he's funny, okay? And I respect that he gets after it with finishes. He's trying to make statements, and he's honestly like a smart dude about his career. He knows he's not trying to be rushed like a Taliesin Teixeira getting stepped up for like a Derek Lewis main event in his second fight. The dude's realistic about his career. He's young. He's kind of that long-term investment for the heavyweight division. I don't know if he'll be top 5, and I don't think he'll get a title shot or anything like that. But in terms of taking on like a Louis Sutherland, I'm going to trust in Walker here, man, okay? Sutherland, he seems like he has, I feel like, more power on the feet from how you look at it here. Like, I haven't seen too much footage or tape or whatever on Sutherland, but I do think that his striking is solid. I feel like he can go to, he's very capable of either knocking you the hell out or going to a decision, which, as we know, for the heavyweights isn't always too crazy, okay? So rate that how you rate that. But Sutherland, I feel like he's going to suffer from the grappling disadvantage here, and I feel like Walker's going to be able to maintain cage control, cage presence, and dictate where he wants the fight to go. I feel like his striking is going to surprise us in this one. I feel like he's going to be able to honestly find a bit of the right enough shots against Sutherland and maybe kind of stun him, maybe hurt him. And I feel like this fight isn't going to end in some kind of heel hook, but I sense a ground and pound TKO in like the second round here from Walker, or a submission in the second round, but some kind of second round finish for Valter Walker here. I like what I've been seeing out of him lately, and Sutherland is a solid fighter, but I just can't confidently say he's that UFC level. He's a big underdog here, and I think that maybe he could have beaten a Justin Tafa, but I think Walker is a really legit heavyweight, okay? So we'll see again. That Rebecki loss was recent, so we'll see, but I'm trusting Walker to get this one done, all right? Moving on up next to Abdul Karim Al-Selwady, bro, okay? It sounds like Ariel Helwani just gone very wrong, bro. But Mateus Camilo is his opponent. I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I have genuinely never seen either guy fight. And if I have, I've forgotten it. But I'm only going to go with Abdul Karim El-Selwady because he has the longer name. And I think that he's going to win via having more letters. He's also the slight favorite if you want to give him that. He's just slightly older, slightly more output on the feet. I don't know dick about either of these two. I'm going with El-Selwady because literally he just has a longer name and he's a slight favorite. I shouldn't be laughing, man. I need picks. I need good picks. I can't have this shit. I can't afford this shit, brother, but it is what it is. Moving on up next here to Ludovic Klein versus Matus Rebecki. Now we're actually talking, okay? This is an amazing fight here. Once again, I am going to go with the slight underdog in Matus Rebecki, man, okay? I know he's just coming off of like a fight of the year candidate, a fight of all time candidate against Chris Duncan, which seemed like yesterday. It was very recent. And before that, this guy's taken a lot of damage within the past year. Before that, it was the Orabai fight, and that was like another fight of the year. So Rebecki has just brought this dog fight out of everybody, man, or vice versa. But Rebecki is an absolute marauder. I like the plus money on him here, okay? Both these guys are pretty even in their statures, their ages, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody has any like physical advantages over the other here, but in terms of their skill set, man, I think that Klein is good. I think Klein's very good. There's a reason why I'm excited for this fight. He's coming off a loss in his own right to Matus Gamrot, who I feel like is a higher level of competition, obviously, than like a Chris Duncan. So you could argue like that's a real thing, Daniel, but that could be a real thing here. Like, level of competition matters, but I feel like these guys are around. I mean, these guys are the same level of competition, I feel like, for each other. Like, they're around that like 18 to 25 kind of just like range in the rankings, you know what I'm saying, for lightweight. Very stacked division here, but I think that Klein is just the much more technical fighter. I feel like he throws less output on the feet. I feel like he has less of that finishing ability here, but he is very durable. He's hard to finish in his own right, but I feel like he's just more comfortable with just that slow, patient fight. But Rebecki just says fuck that, okay? Like, if there was literally a book on how to defeat Ludovic Klein, like, Rebecki can't read. He would throw that shit out the window, okay? And he would just march forward trying to knock you out. I think that Rebecki, he might not have as technical striking or as clean striking as a guy like Klein, but I feel like it's more efficient in some regards. I feel like it's more powerful. I feel like he's just throwing more output. And I feel Rebecki in his own right is harder to finish here, okay? So I feel like I see some kind of decision either way. Like, Klein's pretty durable, but Rebecki can just march him down here, man. I think that Klein can kind of struggle with someone who's just stronger on the ground or very efficient with their takedowns. So maybe Rebecki tries to mix this one up, man. He's not half bad with his grappling game. Like, both these guys are solidly well-rounded, but if Rebecki just wants to really mix this one in the ground here and is able to just rack up some control or get some kind of submission, he's just too big for him on the ground, I would like that for him maybe, but I have some kind of hunch that this is primarily just going to play out on the feet here, okay, for either guy, whether they want to mix in a takedown or not. I think that especially Klein, after dealing with an opponent like Gamrot in his last outing, I feel like he's especially going to want to keep this one on the feet, okay, and Rebecki, again, man, that guy knows how to stand and bang at all times, so I'm going to be going with Rebecki to get this one done here via a 29-28 decision. I think that Klein is probably going to be winning the first round here, kind of a bit of a slower fight. He's able to land all the right shots and outstrike him, maybe rack up some damage, accumulate that, but in going into the second round, I think Rebecki, the momentum's going to turn in his favor. He's going to start to take over and apply a heavier pressure and just bring the dogfight out of Klein, okay? But I'm going to be going with Rebecki for this one. Moving on up next to Ikram Aliskerov taking on Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle here. As much as I want to go with the underdog, the crafty ball, the underdog in Jung Young Park, man, okay? One of the most just randomly wholesome fighters on the roster. Representing Korea, I'm going to be going with Ikram Aliskerov, man, okay? The Koreans haven't been doing too well too lately anyways, okay? They're kind of losing a bit of the momentum that they were building up. They were kind of killing it this year in 2025 with, like, the Korean Conor McGregor and then Hyung Sung Park, but now these guys are racking up losses, and at least Park himself, well, this Park, Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, at least he's coming off of a win, but, it was scary for him. There was, like, an illegal knee, I believe, in the first or second round, but, Park, I believe he got, like, 2 points deducted off of his opponent, so he already had things balanced out. He was was able to pick up to a decision win there. He was able to survive after like his eye, I believe it was, got really fucked up from that knee. So at least he's coming off of a win, multiple wins actually. Okay, so I believe he's on like a 2-fight win streak here. It's not like Park. It's not like the Andre Muniz split decision. All right, I feel like at least he's riding a bit of momentum here, so he can get this one done. He does have good wrestling. Okay, he's been around for a while too, and won a majority of his UFC level fights to where I dare say he's crafty. I dare say that maybe the wrestling can hold up. Maybe the takedown entries can get through, but ultimately I'm going to trust in the momentum shift for the new generation, the new prospect taking over for Aliskerov. I just feel like Ikram Aliskerov is just a real legitimate prospect. He's not as experienced as Park, okay? He hasn't like seen kind of like those highs and lows yet. Well, maybe, because Aliskerov has dealt with the Whitaker TKO fucking loss, but Aliskerov is just so much more green, and I feel like that just now he's really starting to get into his own and build momentum. And I mean, Andre Muniz was the guy that kind of won a robbery decision over Jun Young Park, but Ikram Aliskerov knocked him out in the first round. You know what I mean? So if we're ranking that similar level of competition, you know, Aliskerov might have a good chance of knocking out Park, but I'm going to trust in the durability of Park to survive. I'm going to smell a 29-28 decision here. I feel like I've been handing those out like motherfucking candy this card, but I think that Ikram Aliskerov is going to win a 29-28 decision. I feel like that he might be able to mix in the wrestling, but I feel like, you know, the Sambo background in general, I feel like he's going to want to stand and bank for this one. I feel like he has the power to kind of just pick and choose the right shots against Park. And then even though maybe he won't exactly finish him, I mean, he could. He easily has the power to do that, especially because we're dealing with middleweight. We're dealing with the bigger weight classes. I think that regardless, he'll be able to find all the right shots. And even if this does make its way to a decision, I think that Ikram Aliskerov is just going to be ahead on the numbers. I feel like he's the more aggressive striker. He throws more output, better finishing ability, more of an accurate striker as well. And again, just more in his prime. He's got a bit of the height and reach advantage here as well. So physically, I give him the advantages, but I'm trusting in Aliskerov. He's a favorite. I think he's a good prospect. I don't think he's going to let like the Chimaev and Whitaker losses, the only 2 losses on his whole MMA career, overshadow his entire legacy. You know what I'm saying? Legacy, like I'm talking about him like he's Randy Orton. But you know what I'm saying, man? Like, I feel like he still is a prospect worthy of investing, okay? I think that Park is a good level of competition, but I think that Aliskerov is going to get past him, okay? Moving on up next to the featured prelim here. A super short notice fight here. Like, dude, I just heard about this one getting announced like a day or two ago, okay? Very recent, very fresh, but these guys got rewarded the featured prelim spot. It definitely makes the card a little bit deeper. I appreciate it, but Nasrat Haqprasat taking on Killian Salkilld here, man. I do like this matchup. It's definitely a big step up for Salkilld, man, but I respect him for being active, his 3rd fight this year. And my prediction here, though, it's really tough to say. I like Salkilld. I want to go with Salkilld because I feel like that even though he is a bit more of the green fighter, he is a bit more raw in terms of experience. Like, I think he's exciting. He could bring a dogfight out of people. I feel like that in his last performance against Ashmuch, he really surprised us. I feel like that it was kind of a vice versa kind of fight, meaning that, like, I feel like a lot of people thought that Salkilld was going to suffer from the grappling disadvantage, but he'll clear him in the striking. But really, he got hurt in the striking, almost finished in the 3rd, but his wrestling and how he looked in the scrambles is ultimately what won him the fight. He really surprised us with that. So in general, like, we already knew that his wrestling was good. Like, his Contender Series performance, the way he's able to just mix up on the ground and just dominate down there, like, the guy is a good grappler. But just, we didn't really know at the UFC level, but now we do, man. And at the end of the day, his striking, he's very long and rangy for the weight class. And on top of that, he's just very fluid with his moments. He's got solid power behind his shots. Not the craziest finishing ability, but the dude can crack. So I do like Salkilld, man. High output on the feet. He gets after it on the ground as well. So he's well-rounded, dangerous, good prospect to invest in. I want to pick him. I really do, man, okay? But I think I got to go with Haqprasat, man. I think I do. I don't want to, but I have to rate just like being a proven UFC level of competition. This guy has racked up a solid amount of names, okay? And whether you like him or not, and whether you want to talk about like the Jared Gordon robberies and stuff like that, like Haqprasat is a guy who's like, he's won over 10 fights in the UFC and he's only lost a few, okay? Like, this is a guy that has been lingering outside of the rankings for a while now. He's the type that can't really get in, okay? Can't really get into the club, but he's the type that's popular enough to be outside the door. That doesn't make any sense. They let the popular fuckers in, okay? But you know what I'm saying. Terrible analogy, bro. Haqprasat, man, I feel like that, yes, he might not be as good on the ground, okay? I feel like that Salkilld might be able to take him down. I think that Haqprasat has good enough takedown defense. Not exactly takedown accuracy, but I don't think he's the greatest offensive grappler, okay? But I think in terms of his takedown defense, he might be able to keep this fight standing. And if it does, man, even though Salkilld is a dangerous striker, like, I feel like Haqprasat is going to be comfortable with the fight being there, man. He's not too much of a grappler, okay? But the takedown defense is just good enough to where I feel like Salkilld Salkilld might get a lot of those takedowns shucked off, man. And we'll see if Salkilld even does take him down, how efficiently Haqprasat can get back up. Because if this is just a striking battle, like, at least Haqprasat is able to get these wins over Jared Gordon, Rebecki. These back and forth decisions that, yes, are very close, way too close for comfort. You can argue that he just lost both of those, okay? But even he's beating guys like Jamie Mullarkey. Like, he's beating guys who are proven UFC level, not the greatest level of competition. And he's losing to guys like, God damn it, Bobby, like Bobby Green, Dan Hooker, Drew Dober. I like Salkilld a lot, okay? I want him to be that kind of UFC level, like a Green, like a Hooker, like a Dober, but I just don't think I can confidently say he is that yet. And I think that he will be one day. He's a prospect that's worthy of investing in. I think this is a great level of competition for him. And if he gets past Haqprasat, man, he's so legit. He's legit as fuck. I hope he is, man. I think that Haqprasat's takedown defense is going to be able to hold up, be good enough to shuck off most of the takedown defense from Salkilld. And this fight really is standing and banging here. It's a striking battle. Like, I gotta rate if Haqprasat is going to be able to outpoint and outstrike a guy like Rebecki, man. Like, I have to at least keep that into consideration, okay? Like, he's comfortable going in those back and forths on the feet, and Salkilld can definitely piece him up. He's got the height and reach advantage. He's going to be aggressive and trying to move the hell forward, but I trust in Haqprasat, man. He's durable. He's hard to finish, okay? The last guy to do it was like prime Drew Dober, okay? The Crimson Chin. So in general, I'm trusting Haqprasat to win this one via a very competitive, a very close, a very high-paced back and forth 29-28 decision here, okay? But I'm rooting for Salkilld, all right? I'm not sure the betting odds for this one, but we'll see how the odds are. Moving on to the next one we got here, and we're opening up the main card with it. It's Alexander Rakic. I would say fighting for his career, but it's not too bad. But he's definitely fighting for that top 10 spot here, all right? And he's taking on the undefeated, riding a lot of momentum, especially unbeaten in the UFC, riding a good streak, Azamat Baldy Murzakanov here, all right? And Murzakanov is good. He's dangerous. I can see him winning. This is a damn near pick'em fight. Who's the underdog and who's the favorite is literally swapping every other day from what it seems like. But in general, hard fight to call, but I'm going with Rakic. I'm going with Rakic, okay? This is the year of the younks, and believe it or not, Murzakanov is the older fighter. It's crazy because he's the one that's undefeated. He's the one that's rising the ranks and knocking out the Brenson Ribeiros and the Alonzo Menafields, and now he's getting the big test. And you forget that Murzakonov's the older fighter by 3 years, and it's shit like that. The fact that I feel like he's just a bit more one-dimensional than a guy like Rakic. The fact that the competition difference is a real thing. Like, at least Rakic, he's a guy that's 0-3 in his last 3, right? He doesn't have any momentum on his side right now. He's in a rough spot. He just recently changed camps because his previous camp kind of fucked him out of the Ankalaev win. We'll get to that in a second. But Rakic, for a guy that's 0-3 in his last 3, like, level of competition matters, man. These guys that Murzakanov is beating and he's walking through and he's knocking out crazy and getting performance bonuses, they're just not on the level of the Yuri Prohajkas, the Jan Blachowicz, and the Magomed Ankalaevs here, okay? It's a lot of foreign names. I kind of got twisted up with the tongue there, but you know what I'm saying? Like, these are the level of guys that Rakic is losing to, and even then, he's making it close against Magomed Ankalaev. Like I was saying, this fight was 1-1 going into the third, and Rakic was really frustrated with his team and had to change camps because they were the reason why going into the third round against Ankalaev, he thought he had a guaranteed win. He thought he was just going to get to coast to a decision that he already had won, and then, unfortunately, it was just low fight IQ and poor judgment and advice from his corner. So now, after that performance, Rakic is now 0-3 in his last 3, lost to Magomed Ankalaev, lost on a number 1 contendership spot, and now he's with a new team. He's coming back for the first time this year, I think hungry. I definitely think the inactivity of Rakic hurts him. I will say that. Like, the guy fights like once a year. Sometimes he doesn't even fight at all during a year, and it is unfortunate. He's also one of these fighters where you question how he even got into the top 10. Like, these people forget man wins from back in the day, and then he goes a year without fighting. You know, he had a good streak back in the day. Whatever it is, man, like, how the hell did Rakic just earn his way to a top 5 spot? He's been in the top 5, top 7 forever, and it's crazy to say, but I do think that this is going to be his performance where he reminds people that he is that good. There's a reason why he was giving Yuri problems and why he looked like the best light heavyweight on earth in that first round. There's a reason why he's making it competitive against these upper echelon guys. It's because Rakic is a good striker. He's got good leg kicks. His boxing in general, like, it's good, man. He lacks a bit in that power department. I think Murzakanov clearly has the edge in finishing ability, in aggression, and again, just that one-shot KO power. But in terms of the technical striking, I like what I see out of Rakic better. I think Murzakanov kind of trudges forward. I think he's kind of a bit slower than Rakic. I don't think he's as versatile or dynamic. I just think that even though Rakic is primarily a striker, it's not like he's really getting submissions. It's not like he's very efficient with the ground game. But I'm just saying, like, both these guys are going to want to stand and bang here, and you could argue that favors Murzakanov, but I just think that level of competition matters. I think that Rakic is a good fighter, and this is going to be his performance where he reminds us of that. Murzakanov definitely can get around 1 KO, around 2 KO. He has the power, the explosivity, and just the marauder mindset to do that. He's undefeated as well. Like, even if Murzakanov is going to lose one day, okay, I could see him getting past Rakic and then losing to, like, an Olberg or a Prohajka, a Khalil, like somebody kind of up there, maybe not Khalil even, but like somebody up there, you know what I'm saying? But for Rakic, I think that he's going to cut this shit short. We've seen Zhang Minyang and prospects like this. They're just undefeated fighters, whether it's light heavyweight or not. Undefeated fighters or guys that are on great streaks that are supposed to be the next big thing like they're Brock Lesnar, they have lost this year. Multiple undefeated fighters have lost. Multiple next big things have been shut down. And Murzakanov I don't think is the craziest prospect in the world. He's good. He could definitely, add a fresh element to the light heavyweight division if he wins and maybe gets close to a title shot. But I just feel like he's older in age. He's suffering from a height and reach disadvantage. Well, he usually is, but regardless, I think Rakic is going to be quicker than him. I think he's going to be able to survive the first round, survive the early onslaught, and then as the fight drags on, I think Rakic's experience is going to take over. I think, yes, he can get knocked out. He's prone to getting caught, okay? He's been knocked out even recently, but I just think that his chin is durable enough, and he's hopefully a smart enough fighter here since I'm picking him to survive the storm and onslaught that Murzakonov's going to bring. So if Murzakanov, if he's not getting it done in the first round or two, like he's capable of finishing the fight late. His power translates throughout the entire fight, of course, but I'm just saying I'm going to trust in Rakic, just fighting better competition, even though he's losing, and I rate his striking better. I think he has less finishing ability, but I also just think he has more tools with the striking. I just think he's more versatile up there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trusting in Rakic to not get knocked the hell out here, all right? I'm going to say a 29-28 decision here for Rakic, all right? Scary in the first round, but we'll see how it goes. Moving on up next here to Alexander Volkov versus Jalen Almeida. This one hurts, man, okay? Because it feels like for a year straight, we've been talking about how the Gane robbery has just shadowed over Volkov's career, and I think that this matchup is kind of exemplifying that is the case, man. Like, Volkov's here having to fight once again, earn a number one contendership spot. His streak was snapped, and I'm going with Jalen Almeida, man. I'm going with Jalen Almeida, and part of it is kind of because all of the fuck shit that has gone down with Volkov. Like, he was one away from that title shot, and he had a great streak. He made great improvements. His striking, even though he's a bit of an unk, even though he's getting up there in age. And this is the year of the unks. It really is, man. But Volkov has been improving. His defensive grappling and how he looks in the scrambles has been improving ever since that first Gane fight, or even since the Aspinall chokeout loss. Whatever it is, you can pick and choose, but his striking has even developed a bit. I think he lacks that KO power, and I don't think he has the finishing a bit, or not the KO power. Obviously, Volkov hits really hard, okay? But I think he lacks that one-shot KO power to really take you out any time in the fight. That's what I mean by that, okay? Volkov definitely hits hard, but I think the finishing ability and just the better finishing instincts, and you could argue who's the more well-rounded fighter. He's younger as well. It's Jalen Almeida, man. And these are part of the reasons why I'm going with Almeida. Unlike Volkov, who's been questioning, oh my God, like I got robbed, and oh my God, what's going on with Jones and Aspinall? Like, what's going on with the title picture? And oh, I got fucked out of my career. Will I ever be champ? I don't know. Volkov is still a dog. He's a G. He's a real motherfucker, one of the baddest people on earth. So I could see him persevering through all this shit and getting a win over Almeida. I could see him doing that because skill for skill wise, this fight really is close. I could see Volkov knocking out Almeida, rushing him for the takedowns, or I could see his takedown defense really holding up and making it a stand and bang battle. But I'm just trusting in Almeida, man. I think Almeida is just younger, hungrier, more to prove, has barely tasted defeat in the UFC and barely tasted defeat in general, man. And Volkov just has so much experience. He's taken so much damage, and that works out for him sometimes, having that experience gap and having that experience advantage. But Almeida, man, this guy could make light heavyweight if he wanted to. And he could also make 300 pounds if he wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy can move quick for a heavyweight. He's well-rounded. I trust his wrestling prowess, man. I get that Curtis Blades is the common dominator between these two. Like, Curtis Blades beat Volkov and beat Almeida. Crazy to say, but Almeida rushing in and just spamming all the takedowns. He was trying to make it a smudge fest. Curtis Blades caught him with an uppercut, I believe, on the way in. I could see Volkov doing that. But Blades, look at what Blades did to Volkov. He took him down like 15 times, like 10 times, and Volkov lost to him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, Blades kind of set out the blueprint for how to beat each of these guys because, you know what I mean? Volkov has the power to knock out Almeida coming in if he's focusing too much on making it a smudge fest or just focusing too much on dragging this fight to the mats. But on the other end, man, I could see Almeida just spamming takedowns. takedowns and really getting through to Volkov here. You got to question where he's at this stage in his career, but Almeida's striking isn't even too bad either. Like, obviously the grappling is the bread and butter, but he's very strong down there. He racks up good submissions, but his striking is solid, man. Solid power behind his shots, and the guy, again, racks up so many finishes. He keeps you guessing the entire fight, or he gives you a lot of reasons to worry, I guess I should say. You know what I mean? Because he has the power to knock you out on the feet, but he also has the submission ability on the ground and good enough takedown entries to keep you down there, man. You know what I mean? So I'm trusting in Almeida to just be the heavier pressure fighter, has more ways to win, and I'm going to trust in his chin and fight IQ to survive against Volkov, but it's risky. It's risky. Who the hell knows, all right? But I'm going with Almeida. Just has better momentum on his side right now, and I think skill for skill-wise, a year ago, I would pick Volkov. I really would, but as of right now, man, I'm going to be trusting in Jelena Almeida to get this one done, okay? Volkov's great, but you know what I'm saying. So moving on, I'm next to the featured fight for this one, man, and it's Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Mario Bautista. All right, listen. Dude, this is the Hitler versus Stalin matchup of our generation. I'm sorry, my boys, okay? Well, I'm not too sorry. I feel like we'd all agree on this, man. Not too many people are rocking with either side for this one, but at the end of the day, we got to come together and at least acknowledge that this is a high-stakes fight. Like, hopefully Umar, if he does win, doesn't get an immediate rematch from Merab, and Bautista will be worthy of fighting Merab because he's on a pretty solid streak, man, okay? I feel like the Jose Aldo performance kind of shadows over his career as it should, dude. It's that constant slap on the neck, but Bautista's on like an 8 or 9 fight win streak, I believe, okay? And he's had solid names as well, like a Patchy Mix. What can I even say about Patchy Mix? That win is not aging well, my boys. But, you know, Damone Blackshear, stuff like that. But this is such a massive step up in competition despite the good streak. But Batista's a good fighter. He's solidly well-rounded. If I'm going to pick any one of these doomsday devices to win, man, obviously I got to go with Umar here, man. He's a massive favorite. And looking at Vancouver last weekend, okay, Jesus, my worst picks all year. Possibly my worst picks I've ever done. It was literally a sin, but a lot of underdogs won on that card, okay? Bautista could get this done. Like, he does have solid striking. I feel like he lacks power and that finishing ability, that real pop behind his shots, but it's solid striking. He has solid volume and output. He can kind of march you down and move the hell forward. So I can respect that with Bautista, but I feel like the lack of finishing ability on the feet is going to hurt him in this matchup because Umar's a guy that, you know, he's really durable. It is hard to crack him, and his striking I would rate higher than Bautista's. I think it's faster, more dynamic, more weapons, better leg kicks, but I think that Bautista still could have that, like, puncher's chance, but I just don't think it applies in that matchup. If you're going to beat Umar, you need to either be just as good in the wrestling, like a guy like Merab, or you got to have that just crazy KO power, okay? Like a pound for pound, like Taporia or a fucking Pereira, okay? Because Umar is so durable, and he's a great striker in his own right. He's very hard to beat. The blueprint has kind of been laid out by Merab. You got to out-cardio him, out-dog him, and you got to match him in the wrestling. And even the striking, like, Merab has been improving a lot. It's interesting, like, what are we going to rate Merab striking over Bautista's now? Like, what does bantamweight come to, okay? Back in my day, it was Sandhagen and Yam we were talking about right now, but regardless, okay, I do think that I struggle to find a reason even on the ground. Like, Batista's got a good submission game here and there, and he can get knockouts here and there, man, but you know what I'm saying. You know, in the grand scheme of things what I'm saying. For the most part, he's a decision merchant. He can go to war sometimes, but I think Bautista just doesn't have the necessary grappling to just outwork Umar on the ground, man. I think Umar's too strong for bantamweight on the ground. He's good at racking up control. He's good at hunting for submissions, and I think that his striking is good enough to make him just the more well-rounded fighter. They're both well-rounded, but I think I feel like Umar just kind of represents like that step above in the bantamweight rankings between like the guy who's ranked like number 2 and 3, that real upper echelon, you know what I'm saying, the S tier, versus like Bautista, up and comer, not really too proven yet, massive underdog, and I think he's that like 7 to 10 range in the rankings, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, if Bautista really does just apply such a crazy pressure, and maybe his striking and wrestling and his speed, the power behind his shots, his cardio, the pace he's able to withhold, like, if all of it is just better than what we're expecting and what I'm expecting, of course he can beat Umar here, but I struggle to find just a certain advantage that Bautista has over Umar. Like, I feel like Umar is a very inactive fighter. I feel like in the long term for his career, that might hurt him. I feel like he's not too much of a risk taker, a game plan heavy guy, all right? That team could be vibe. Sometimes that works extremely well for him, but you know what I'm saying? Against Merab, then he's stuck in the wind, just not knowing what to do. So I don't know why I said stuck in the wind. Isn't there like a literal quote? It's like a shit in the wind. I don't know, whatever the hell. But that's probably not even something related. But my point is, man, Umar is beatable. I don't think he's invincible. I think there are guys in the division like an O'Malley, like a Jan, who could probably give him really tough competition, but I would still probably lean towards Umar to maybe get that done. Who the hell knows? But my point is, Umar I don't think he's going to have like what? He only has one loss on his whole record for his whole MMA career. I don't think that's going to maintain for the rest of his time in the UFC, okay? I think he's going to rack up maybe a loss here and there, but I don't think Bautista's the guy to really do it, man. Especially at this stage in the game, man. Umar is kind of coming up early in his prime. Bautista's in his prime as well, a bit older here, but these guys, like Bautista just doesn't have some massive height and reach advantage. He doesn't have some crazy advantage with just the output where I think he's just going to walk down Umar. Like, in general, man, I think that Umar is going to be able to take this one by just being able to mix in the wrestling when he wants. Maybe Bautista's takedown defense will be good enough to shuck off a few, okay? I think the fight will be competitive throughout. I would have been curious to see if this is a 5-rounder. I don't think it's going to be domination by Umar, and I don't think it's going to be a finish, okay? I think Bautista's good enough defensively to avoid getting finished, and there's a reason why he's on a mean streak. Mean streak, take that how you will, okay? But in general, Umar, he's going to be my prediction here, man. He's one of the biggest favorites on the card here. I'm going to say a 29-28 decision here, okay? With Bautista looking strong in moments, maybe especially in like that third round, and then some people say like, wow, Bautista's a dog, he gave Umar problems, but ultimately I think Umar is going to win this one. I feel like that might be the vibe and the outcome for this one, okay? So I'm going with Umar. I'm not a fan of him, but he is a good fighter, so here we are, okay? And moving on now to the main event here, all right? Tom Aspinall is back, dude. Finally, man. I've been waiting for this a long time, and it's either going to end in 60 seconds or I swear to God, I swear to actual God, my boys, after all the investment we've been hoping for Big Tom, and after all the time we've been waiting for him to come back, if Ciryl Gane just wins, especially like some round 2 or 3 knockout, and Aspinall chokes in the later rounds, and John Jones is tweeting about it after, don't hear from me, man. Don't hear from most of us, bro. Like, it will be a bad day to come to school the next day, all right? If Ciryl Gane is getting some crazy upset here, because my whole point with this is I'm going with Tom Aspinall, man. There's a reason why so many people are going with Aspinall. There's a reason why people are saying Aspinall via blank, and then they're doing all the memes or whatever. Okay, there's a reason why he's just a massive favorite in general, and he's a champion that has genuine potential to become the GOAT of his division. Whereas Ciryl Gane, man, the guy's a good fighter. Again, one of these guys I was talking about earlier, like in Almeida, where him and Aspinall and Gane, like these guys are the ones that are moving like middleweights. These are the guys that are just quicker and just a level above skill-wise than most of the other guys in that heavyweight rankings. You know what I'm saying? So I like the new blood. I like that these guys represent that new era to heavyweight. And genuinely, for as much as I like Tom Aspinall, and I would love a crazy early finish, I would like to see maybe this fight go to a second round. Like, I want to see Aspinall win, of course. I want to see a great fight, but maybe I want to see Aspinall go out there and kind of finish him faster than Jones. I would love that, okay? I would love for Aspinall to shut this shit down. After what Jones did to Aspinall, I'd love that, but I would just like to see the skill set on display here, man. Like, these are genuinely good heavyweights. I would like to see them go back and forth. Like, Gane is genuinely a good kickboxer. I think that Aspinall has much more power. I think in terms of just being a pure boxer and just marching you down and knocking you the hell out, I'm going with Aspinall 10 out of 10 days. But purely from a kickboxing point of view and just the speed, the precision, the fact that, yes, it does have solid pop behind his shots, and the fact that the guy is quick, man. Like, I think that Gane is a good kickboxer, and he has very high volume and output on the feet. The fight against Tai Tuivasa, how can you fucking forget? Like, there's shit like that to where Gane, man, really, in the grand scheme, he's only losing to the very, very elites. Like, the GOATs of the divisions, man. The Francis Ngannous, the John Jones, okay? And then you have the Volkov robberies, but Volkov is that top 3 worthy fighter for the division. And Aspinall, I think, is a guy that is that level of talent, okay? There's some fighters like a Gane who you look at their record and they were once undefeated, but now Gane's like a 13-2, arguably a 12-3 for some people, okay? With the air quotes, but I'm just saying, regardless of all that bullshit. Oh, God, dude. If I'm already so sick of talking about the robbery from a year ago, I don't even know how Volkov feels, bro. Jesus. But for Gane, man, like, it really is a thing where you have to look at the level of competition. Gane has lost to the very, very elite, like a Tom Aspinall. These guys that are either so well-rounded or so powerful. They have these attributes that really stand out that are the reasons why they've been beating everybody else in the UFC. And I think Aspinall is no exception, man. There's a reason why he's knocked out or finished pretty much damn near almost everyone in the top 10, especially if he does this to Gane, okay, or whoever the hell next. Like, he's already pretty much completed everybody in the rankings. He's gotten all the side quests. He's looping it for a second time, okay? Well, I shouldn't say that. He literally just won the belt. He just won the belt now. That's the craziest part. He already has all these wins with these guys in the rankings, but literally he just now, this is his very first defense here, okay? At the end of the day, though, man, I just think that Aspinall, his boxing is going to be too much. I think that his power is going to be too much. I think his wrestling, his submission ability, his takedown entries, the fact that he's also quick as hell in the feet. I was saying that Gane's a really fast striker for heavyweight, at least. I think Aspinall is even faster, man. Like, Aspinall moves truly just, it's scary. It is genuinely just scary as fuck seeing this guy fight because there's just so many ways he can hurt you. There's so many ways that he could just dominate. Like, he can drag you to the mats, find a submission in literally like 2 or 3 minutes over a guy that's as good as Volkov. He can knock out the Blades. He can knock out the Tiburas. He can knock out, genuinely, it just seems like anybody. He has that kind of power. But really, it's the power that even hypothetically, the power even was hypothetically too much that it made John Jones retire. You know what I'm saying? So it's enough to make any man, okay? Whether you're the baddest motherfucker on the planet or you're just any motherfucker walking through the grocery store. It could be anybody. Everybody has the same exact reason to fear Tom Aspinall. He's that good, dude. Like, this is the guy that be ruling the Coliseums. He's just dangerous everywhere. He's the guy where, you know how the UFC wanted to always hype up, like, you know, the heavyweight champion. This is the true BMF. This is the true guy that's the real baddest man on the planet. Like, that is Tom Aspinall. I think that Gane, for as good as he is, and I think that even his takedown defense is solid. As easy as it is to shit on Gane for the robbery and just coming up short a couple of times and being inactive in his own right. Like, Gane's another one of these guys that's way too inactive for his own good here, okay? But I do think that the takedown defense is still solid for the most part against a certain level of competition. And the striking is enough to piece up most guys, but I just Aspinall is not most guys here, man. I'm sorry to Gane. I'm sorry to the Frenchies, but truly, Aspinall, I could see him winning via knockout. I could see him winning via submission. And even if this fight goes into the later rounds, like, I believe Aspinall when he says that we've barely seen anything out of his game. Like, that's arguably the greatest and worst thing about him. Like, we've seen so little out of him. It's insane high output on the feet. It's insanely high finishing ability. It's crazy power, but we don't get too much footage. We don't really see. This is why I said I wanted to see the fight at least maybe make it to the second a little part of me wants to see. Because, like, I kind of want to see that back and forth. I want to see more out of Tom Aspinall. I want to see this guy. Like, we really haven't seen him since last July, okay? We really don't see Gane much either. So truly, it's like a literal, these guys just don't appear that much, okay? They're like the little Pikmin just popping up from underneath you, okay? But I'm going to be trusting in Tom Aspinall, man. If Cyril Gane wins, like, by all means, it's a massive upset. The world will be shook up the next day, okay? Towers will be leaning this way. Buildings will be upside down. It just shouldn't be happening. It's the multiverse of goddamn madness. If Cyril Gane is the heavyweight champion the next day or gets some crazy upset. Like, he can get it done. He really can, man. The betting odds, they're realistic, man. Aspinall's not no minus 800. He's not no Gatir over some jabroni, okay? Gane is good. Gane can definitely get this one done. He's a skilled fighter, but I'm noticing just the consistent holes in his game, man. The takedown defense can be broken through by a certain level of wrestler. His chin can be found and kind of cracked here and there by a certain level of power, okay? And I feel like he can be out-dragged to a decision with a guy that's as experienced or well-rounded as the guys he's been losing to. So at the end of the day, man, I'm trusting Tom Aspinall to just have better finishing ability, better speed, better power, better striking, better wrestling. You know, we don't know about the cardio. We'll have to see it though, man. But Aspinall, there's a lot of question marks, but we'll have to see it. We'll have to see now how he is as the champion, man. I'm just glad that he's fighting, but I'm going with Tom Aspinall via round 1 or 2 KO. Maybe a submission. Maybe a round 1 submission. I don't know here, man, okay? But I'm scared. I'm kind of scared even saying all this, okay? I know everyone else is saying this. That's why it's scary, because if I feel like we might be jinxing it in a way, but fuck it, we just gotta roll with it, okay? Some things might be obvious because they're right. Let's hope it's true, okay? But I'm going with Tom Aspinall via a round 1 or 2 finish, my boys, okay? And moving on now to the blanks of the card, okay? We're going over the underdog of the card, the locks of the card, and the wild card of the card, and the card rating, okay? I almost forgot about that one, even though it's on the damn screen. But the card rating, all of them are self-explanatory, but my boys, as usual, I'll get to it as I get to it, all right? So starting off with the underdog of the card here, which one of my underdog picks am I the most confident in to get this one done? But I believe the only underdog I went with is Alexander Rakic, and even that fight's a pick'em, and Matus Rebecki. So by that logic, I'll say that Matus Rebecki's able to get this one done over Ludovic Klein. I'm going with him as my underdog at the card, plus 125, plus 135 range. So I like those odds, man, okay? So moving on up next down to the locks of the card, which one of my picks do I believe I'm the most confident in? Which one do I believe is truly a lock in every sense of the word? I did bad with the locks last week, man. Oh my God. I put DeRitter as a lock. That alone was just terrible. I added Azamat Bakoyev. So most of them, they aged bad, okay? I put Drew Dober on there, so there we go. Drew Dober getting it done. But for this week, man, I'm going to put Tom Aspinall. Like, again, I was saying with the main event, dude, if Ciryl Gane wins, we are in the wrong timeline. After everything that's been going right towards the end of this year for the UFC, like, this would fuck things up, dude. Okay, truly, we're just not expecting it. Be that thing where you wake up the next day, you actually miss this card. You're like, okay, Aspinall probably won. What's next for him? And you see that UFC post that says, like, Gane is the new champion. Hashtag and new. I would throw my phone out the window if I was that guy, okay? So it would be a bad day. It'd be an upset for sure. So by all means, Aspinall should get this one done. I'm going to say Aspinall's a lock. I'm going to throw Umar Nurmagomedov on here as well. So I'm going to say Umar, Aspinall. I'm going to say Aliskerov. Fuck it, man. I'm going to put Aliskerov as a lock here, man. I love the Iron Turtle, but I just really can't see him getting this one done, man. And I'm going to go with those three. I'll put those three as my locks here. So I got Ikram Aliskerov, Umar Nurmagomedov, and Tom Aspinall as my 3 locks for this week. Okay, I'm pretty confident in them. Moving on now to the wild card of the card. Who is somebody that's being pretty overlooked, pretty overshadowed? Someone who, if they're able to get this win, they're really able to shake up the rankings and shake up their division and maybe get a big fight next. I'm kind of smiling while saying this one because I didn't even realize it, but we have a lot of options I could throw in this card. Like Gane and then Bautista, Volkov, and Rakic kind of all fit that mold, to be honest. But out of all of them, I'm going to go with Ciryl Gane. Oh my God, dude. I really hope he doesn't win. But I could just, in every sense of the word, he is just that wild card pick, man. Like, I could go with Bautista. I could go with these other guys here, man. But I think that Gane just is realistic, maybe enough. There really is that, like, 5, 10, 15% chance, 20% chance even, okay, that he really can't get it done, okay? It's not enough to pick him. It's not enough to rely on it, okay? By every sense of the words in the world, Aspinall should win this fight, but Gane is still good enough, and maybe we are just overlooking him. It's hard to say, though, man. It's hard to say with motherfucking Gane. But I'm going to go with him. It just seems like cinema. It just seems like, of course, this would be the wild card here, man. So I'm going to go with Gane as the wild card of the card. Moving on up next to the card rating. What am I going to give this card from 1 to 10? With a 5 out of 10 pay-per-view, obviously kind of being a better card than a 5 out of 10 fight night, okay? I'm going to give this a 6.5, 7 out of 10. What do I give it, boys? I don't know. I'm going to give it a 6.5, and the reason why I can't give it a 7 is because I feel like the main event is solid. It's an alright main event, but I feel like it's not as intriguing as one could have imagined. We were hoping for like an Aspinall versus Jones, you know what I'm saying? So this is still a solid fight. It's a solid headliner. It's obviously, I feel like, the best choice out of everyone in the heavyweight rankings, but I think it goes to show that the state of heavyweight right now isn't too crazy. Like the co-main as well. Like the co-main is just, oh my God. At least Aspinall versus Gane. I'm excited for it. I can look forward to it. The heavyweight champion, the heavyweight title picture's getting going, but the co-main is just, it's rough, man. It's rough, and it could go for 5 minutes or it could go for 25, and it's a very random title fight. You kind of forget it is a title fight, and that is the co-main event. I mean, it could be all right, but it could kind of stall the momentum of the card. You just don't know, but at least the rest of the main card, it is good. We got a number 1 contendership heavyweight fight. We got a number 1 contendership bantamweight fight, you know, arguably here. We have the prelims, which are pretty damn good all around, man. Like Ikram Aliskerov versus the Iron Turtle is good. Klein versus Rebecki is a banger. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado is a banger, okay? You even got Azat Maksom, one of the more underrated guys at flyweight. You got Chris Barnett, one of the big boys who could get some kind of crazy KO. You have Nasrat Haqprasat versus Salkilld. Like, there are really good prelims here, Jesus. I want to give it a 7, but there's just certain things here and there to where, I don't know, man. Maybe it's because we got 322 coming up, maybe in 323 as well, but don't get me wrong, a 6.5 is a good card. If 5 is average, like, this is above average. This is a good card. It's a good main card and good prelims, okay? But I just feel like there's certain fights kind of missing, or certain fights added to where it's not that level of like a 314 or what just happened, like a 320, you know what I'm saying? Or even the pay-per-views we might have coming up. So it's good. I'm grateful for it, but you know what I'm saying? 6.5, I'll give this one, all right? Above average for sure. That's going to be it for this video, man. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in, making it this far. Please, Lord, let me know your predictions in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear it. Who are your locks, your underdogs, your picks in general? Let me know. Let me know how you did with Vancouver last weekend. I did awful. It was pretty terrible. So thank you guys so very much for making this far in the video. Truly, as usual, my boys, it endlessly is appreciated. So have a good time watching the card this weekend. I will be doing a fight companion. I should have mentioned this, but most likely I will be doing a fight companion for UFC 321. So if you guys want to tune in at this weekend, please do. I'd appreciate hanging out with y'all, okay? So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. All the smoke here, and I'll catch you guys next time.